Alright guys, so today we hit break even on this account and then we passed this eval. So we took two different trades. I'm going to show you guys that right now. This is the trade I took right now on the Express account and I closed it. I didn't have the good risk management, if I'm being truly honest. But I'm just letting it play out. I'm letting it see, like if this 1 to 2 would have hit, risking 50 points, that was our entry right around there. And then that's pretty much really the trade for today. Reason why I closed it was I just didn't like the risk. I didn't calculate the risk properly, and if I could have, I just would have probably had a different position sizing. Because again, we had a 3-minute inversion. I should have just entered right here, but I was busy looking at ES, waiting for the 5-minute close on ES, but it was way too high up there. It's better break the highs right now. So this right here, with like a 60-point stop, or maybe a 70-point stop all the way down here, and just targeting these internal highs right here, and that would have been the better trade idea for me. In my honest opinion, I feel like I just got in way too late. When break even, or essentially just close the trade at break even, and I was like, yeah, because again on the 5-minute time frame we do have a 5-minute civvy, which again would have been a break even point. Either way we probably would have got stopped out. Because I realized this last trade I took on NQ was, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. Whenever I took that loss was, we had two fair value gaps in the price leg, and I waited for this one to get inverse, but then we had another one up here with an intermediate term high, and next thing you know, the market, was forming this one, and I entered, and then boom, hit it, and then it never really even hit the intermediate term high, never really swept it, and then it just dropped lower. So either way, you can see that there probably would have got stopped out. But let's go show you this account trade. I don't know why they haven't activated it yet. Here is the, I'm not gonna lie, it took me 3 attempts on this one. It took me 3 tries to finally get it. It's the same trade, YM. And this is basically really it. That's really it, bro. So yeah, hopefully we were able to activate this one. And this is the reason why I closed this trade too, was like, I think YM was the best trade for today. So that's really it, like, if I'm being truly honest, I think it was by far the best trade. This was a negative R, but it could have been a positive. I just wasn't aiming for too much, honestly. So here was the trade. I know it seems really sketchy, I won't lie, it does seem a little sketchy, but we could have aimed for this high up here, which would have been met, honestly. And then yeah, it would have been a 1 to 1.75. In reality, I usually aim for like 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. I think that's my sweet spot. 1 to 2s are good, I won't lie, they're good, but I think the 1 to 1.5s are my sweet spot. So let's go over this trade real quick. Again, really the same generic bias of like, hey, we need context on the higher time frame. We need to identify where is the market going to most likely move to target. So from a higher time frame perspective, we had this unfilled fair value gap. We have a 4-hour fair value gap, which is getting disrespected. And to me, like, we're bullish. We're bullish. On the 30-minute time frame, we have a 30-minute fair value gap formed there, and then on the 15-minute time frame, really the same thing. As you can see here at 9:30, the market just came, retraced up into it, formed that 1-minute fair value gap, and then eventually just started to show that rejection. Slowly and surely showed strong rejection to then eventually form that inversion. I did take this right here. I wouldn't break even too soon. This is one of the really the biggest things I'm dealing with right now is like going break even too soon, cutting the trade too soon, unable to accept the risk at times. But I went in it 3 times, bro. Boom, because I knew the idea, the context, everything was there. It was lining up perfectly. I was simply waiting for ES and NQ to give me the signal, like, hey, we're probably gonna reverse here, to then eventually fuel YM. I think YM was stalling a little bit. As you can see through here, it was stalling while the other ones were moving. This one was maintaining its composure for higher prices, and I think this one would have been the better trade right here. Stops at the lows down here, and then going break even above this high if you want, or something, and then targeting this. This would have been your better trade idea, and it would have offered a little bit more than like a 1 to 1. So like stops at the rejection block low, and then you target this up here. Yeah, 1 to 1.7. Really the same thing. If I took it, they've locked me out. Damn. All right. Yeah. All right. So we still got it here. That's nice. So yeah. That's really it, bro. That's honestly the trade idea. Now we have 2 Express accounts. And the goal is to not give a fuck. I know it sounds weird. It sounds really weird, honestly, but the goal is to not give a fuck about these trading accounts, nor about trading. And just follow your system, follow your rules, stick to your plan, focus on the internal more than the external. Especially when it comes to trading, like focus on your process, focus on your system, focus on journaling, focus on forming those good habits in and outside of trading to then eventually see the, results, which you shouldn't care about in trading. But yeah, I feel like this month has been a really good month. We passed accounts, now we're just going to be aiming for consistency and potentially, making the ROI back. That's honestly the main objective, honestly, is to make the ROI back, have a good month, a great month, and continue with this, consistency, and really honestly just not care about trading. I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people need to do, is not care about trading as much. I would have bought more accounts, if I'm being truly honest, if I had bigger bankroll. But I'm not gonna lie, I've been spending lavishly, especially on food, protocols, certain things like that, like buying supplements, like updating my environment, so then actually give me better performance when it comes to, getting on the chart. So I'm not, spending my money on things that don't matter. I'm spending my money on tools and devices to help me improve my health, and then eventually outside of, the charts, doing my fitness, doing X, Y, and Z, just doing certain things that help me improve my performance when I'm on the charts, and then eventually it will correlate to the results and whatever, what I'm saying. So it is money well spent, I'm truly honest. But yeah, I want to scale up, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I know it's going to take time. I know the results are going to compound X, Y, Z. So I'm not really in a rush either. That's one of the biggest things. Don't be in a rush, because then eventually start forcing trades when in reality they're not there, and you start making foolish decisions. So let's go activate the account. There we go, we're here. So yeah, now we have a new account. I'm gonna start copy trading them. And that's really it, bro. That's really it. It should not be more complicated than it seems. Keep it simple. That's really it, honestly. Last time I had 2 accounts, we went on a good, little green streak. We got, those payouts, XYZ. As you can see here, we got those payouts. And yeah, this was just on 2 accounts. And that was really it. So try to do the same now.